folks, and welcome to Subjective Thoughts. And our comic for today is Hellboy, Conqueror Worm, Issue 2 by Dark Horse. Now there is violence, fighting, shooting, killing, some blood, torture, really fucked up experiments, and aliens in this one, so if you are in any way squeamish, you have been warned. Also, spoilers. Alright, here's the team. So, we continue with our Mike Mignola written and drawn story. Oh, and I also didn't realize Dave Stewart does the colors. I always forget the team names usually after I read. I have a problem with remembering names. Alright, so when we left off Hellboy in issue 1, he went up to this castle in Austria, Hunt Castle, to investigate some kind of capsule that's flying from space all the way down there. And guide lady, well, now we know she is the supposed police lady from Austria, has been guiding him and Roger up there. But it turned out it was a trap. Roger fell off the cliff, and Hellboy's been knocked out by this here gorilla. You see? Oh, look at that one. Alright, so we're back at the castle. It is 8:30 something p.m., so the time has passed. Hellboy regains consciousness, and it's his old friend, Clumped. He also worked with the Nazis, and Hellboy, as I said, encountered him before. Though now it seems he managed to grow himself a new body. Because last time, well, the last story I read of him, he was a head in a jar. So yes, Hellboy says, Clumped, it's been a while. Last time I saw you was this and this, some other kind of operation. And I see your gorilla friend has grown his fur back. So no, this is another gorilla. The previous one Hellboy has destroyed. So he built a new one. This is number 10. Oh yeah, Hellboy wakes up because he's being electrocuted. Clumped put this sort of belt on him and these things on his wrist, hands here. Arm. So, to electrocute him. Now, it doesn't have enough power to kill him, as he says, but it'll make it hurt and it'll keep his gorilla entertained. As also the woman, her real name is Ingrid, or Inger, or something. Anyway, the Clump's granddaughter, she comes into the room to call him. So he gives the remote with the electricity to the gorilla and tells his daughter, come on, we'll leave my gorilla to it. And the gorilla has a name, I forgot. And we'll go and continue. And then the gorilla starts to turn the button to painfully electrocute Hellboy. Yeah, poor Hellboy. So with Clump and his granddaughter, they're walking. He tells their granddaughter, "There's one thing I need to show you first. There's a man in there." She says, "Who is this? He's not one of mine." It's some man that's apparently already been there when Clump came. He chained him. He says that the man wouldn't talk, and he tells his granddaughter, "He is all yours." And then she shoots him, and he falls. Man, she really fucking loves killing people, that one. The apple didn't fall too far from the tree. Although she is the granddaughter. Alright, they move on. He tells her, come on, we'll find you some clothes. We see that the man she shot has gotten back up, so he's not dead yet. We then move on to, oh yeah, and he also tells her, she tells him as they walk away, and she's sorry she couldn't get the homunculus, Roger, because she knows he would have loved to experiment on him. And he tells her, it's fine, I already sent 2 of your men to go get him. We move to down in the mountain. Those 2 men are looking for Roger, but Lobster Johnson gets to them first and kills both of them. and also leaves the mark of the claw on their foreheads. And he says, you know, that brace yourselves, not brace yourselves, but prepare for the justice of the claw. And then Roger appears, tells him how you speak of justice, but how could you have killed these two men? You didn't even warn them or anything. He says these are men, these are beasts, dogs. And then Roger notices that they have the Nazi symbol on them. He gets up and asks, what are you? Or do you have what it takes to fight evil? And Roger said, I was grown in a jar of if the physicist, no, not physicist, of a scientist. What did you say? Oops, sorry. Sorry. Oops. Let me beware my claw, he says, of course. And he was brought to life and I was brought to life by lightning. Oh yeah, I asked, what are you? How can you live through that? Live through that fall, because he saw him falling. And then he tells him, and Lobster Johnson's like, good enough. And then he tells them, my companions, they're up there. We need to save them, the girl and Hellboy. And then Lobster Johnson says, the red thing and the woman. And he says, yes, we need to save them. And then he tells them that Laura is not who she said she was. That's not her real name. She's not with the police, nothing. She is Clump's granddaughter. And she lured them into this trap, and they need to go into... And then he tells them about the operation that happened 61 years ago. Or that tells him that in that operation, Klump was the only one that survived. And then the only one that survived that day. And then Roger points something out. He says, you mean the only Nazi that survived, right? Because you were there too. And you're here. It really makes me wonder, what is Lobster Johnson? Is he a spirit now? What is he? Because he was there 61 years ago, so did he die and since then he just... Or is he some kind of spirit that just gets summoned and comes when one needs help, or to fight Nazis in this case? It's just so interesting, especially something that later happens. And, Lobster Johnson's like non-committal, says, of course. And then he tells him how he's worried about Hellboy. And Lobster Johnson says, with good reason, Klump is a monster. Ooh, he is. He is. So they move up the mountain. They are... the mountain itself is hollow. Lobster Johnson tells them, because the Nazis already used it before to start experimentations. And they go in, and they find this abandoned laboratory. That day where that capsule was shot into space, and everyone died, so all the experiments also destroyed a lot of shit there. And then you see all these bodies in tubes, all these experiments, and Roger can feel them. There's something mechanic, and they don't have electricity, no bolt of lightning to bring them to life, like with Roger, as he says. And they're standing there, and then suddenly Roger falls. All of these experiments around, all of these creatures in these tubes, they start to suck the life energy out of him, the electricity in his and like the cord that was built for him by the BPRD. And he falls, and Lobster Johnson's, what's wrong? And then they all come out and they start attacking. He was like, all right, let's fight. And then, one moment. A little picture of Clumps. He wasn't a bad-looking dude. Oh yeah, and also in the meantime, we see another panel of Hellboy being electrocuted. Oh, and as they go in to the caves, A rat and a snake even tell them go back. Even the animals are like, don't come in here. This place is fucked, and it is. But yeah, the Lobster Johnson's like, come on. Okay, I'll just make sure. 1 second. Okay. Then we briefly see outside the moon. Then we are in the, I suppose, inside the castle itself in the upper in the upper, not headquarters. Anyway, there's also a lab and a lot of electronics there. That's where they're following the capsule. So Lara's there. She now changed into her Nazi uniform. And Klump says that that day when the Americans with Lobster Johnson burst in, they burst in before they could open the hatch for the capsule, the rocket. So that explains why the whole fire and explosion started. Because I was surprised in the first issue. I'm like, what? No one planned a better exit? Why did everyone die? So that was why. They didn't have. They didn't. The Americans were late by a minute. They would have opened the hatch, but since they didn't have time, I guess the rocket just went through anyway, and they all died, except Clump and Lobster Johnson supposedly. So yes, so that's what happens, and now they're waiting for Doctor Oming, to come back after these 61 years, and I think they're the ones who are controlling the capsule. I presume it's for something that I'll get to in a bit. So yeah, they're the ones that. So you can't control the capsule. They're the ones that've been changing the coordinates, I think, and sending it back to them. And now waiting for him, he went to do something there, and then suddenly there's yes, he went to do something there, and now finally, at long last, he's back, and they'll see. Oh yeah, while he was walking with her out of the room where Hellboy and the gorilla were, he told her, she asked him, "Oh, Grandpa, you've been on a mission. How did it go?" So it didn't go well. Someone that was loyal to Rasputin attacked him. It seems his experiments rusted away, and so he had to come back to the to Germany, where he's still at a workshop under a cemetery, and that's where he built his new gorilla. Sorry if you can hear the sirens. So yes, now back to this. Then we move. So they're looking at the screens, and one guy says, "An hour. There's still an hour and 17 minutes before the capsule arrives." And also, and his granddaughter asks, "Well, how are the men, grandfather?" She gathered these men up for them, and he says that they'll do. They're not the best. She apologized, said it's all right. They will serve him well. He means, I presume, Dr. Oming once he lands. So then we go back to down below. Roger, Lobster Johnson is fighting the mechanical zombies, and Roger's on the ground. He's like, I won't let them suck the life out of me. Unlike them, whatever I am, I have life in me. And so he grabs the cord, the one of the electricity cords that leads to one of the machines, and then he starts sucking the electricity back inside of him. While he does that upstairs, one of the Nazis tells Klam that, oh, there's something with one of the generators, and he says fix it, but there's nothing he can do. Roger sucks the generator dry. All of the mechanical zombies just, well, that's it. They not get destroyed, but they all fall and you know, like become dust a little bit. And that's it. And also, they don't have the generator. The Nazi upstairs tells them, "Oh, the generator's dead." Downstairs, Roger rises and says, "Let's go find Hellboy." We move on to Hellboy. The gorilla keeps clicking on the thing, not really realizing the juice is all out. And Hellboy rises up and said, "Aw, what's wrong? No more juice?" And then the gorilla starts making noises at him. Hellboy gets up, punches him, and punches him again, and they both fall through the floor. And well, I don't know where. Ah, that's it. A lot of rubble falls on the gorilla, and he's dead. And he said, "Well, that's the end. Well, that's the end of the gorilla." Hellboy rises up and starts going a bit, and then he comes across. I know someone calls him Hellboy, and it's the man that Lara or Clump's granddaughter has shot. By the way, I'm sorry, I'm probably pronouncing his surname incorrectly. It is German. And then he reveals to Hellboy that he and Hellboy's like, "Oh, buddy, I'm not a doctor," because he has 3 shots in the chest, and he says there's no time for that. And Hellboy's like, "Who are you? There's no time for that either." So Hellboy knows him. He was a soldier back then when Hellboy first appeared. He was disguised as a soldier, but he was actually an assassin sent there to kill him. But then that day when he saw him, he saw something in him. He saw free will. And so he decided against killing Hellboy. And then, but after that, he followed Hellboy. And then when Hellboy fought this other thing and his blood spilled and lilies grew out of it, this guy says after that I decided to break it up with my masters and I just left. But since then he followed Hellboy, and when it's one of the mission Hellboy goes to. He fights this thing. I forgot what kind of creature it was, but his blood spills and lilies grow out of it, and that it tells this guy that he made the right choice, not killing Hellboy back then. And he says, "Well, now, and I've came here as well." And he tells him that there are things in space, old things. If they had physical bodies before, they no longer have them now, and they're just floating around in cold space, and they want things to be as cold and deserted and empty as they are, and that that they wait, they curse men, they want to. They want to, do the same to men. They want to destroy planets if they could, even. But then Hellboy says, "But we've been sending astronauts to space for." And sorry, before that, back in the past, there were people that were sensitive enough to feel them, to speak to them, to hear them. And he says, "I don't know how these empty people, it means the Nazis, managed to communicate with them, but they have sent a vessel up there." And Hellboy says, "Wait, we've been sending people to space for a long time now. Nothing ever happened." And he says, "Yes, living people." So Dr. Oming, from what I understand out of this, was dying. So when they put him in there, he was already dying. And I'm assuming he probably died while traveling up to space. So what was in that capsule was a body, a dead body, for these entities in space to inhabit. And they have inhabited him, I presume, and now they're coming back. And he tells Hellboy, "You have to stop this before they come here, because if they do, everyone is doomed." And quickly, I don't have much time, and he gives Hellboy not a square, hexagon? No, not hexagon, they're like an elongated square, little green container. And he tells him, "Use this, it'll trap, it's a prison you cannot escape from. It'll trap them inside. And then, and go, Hellboy, I was glad I got to meet you again. And, he says, I've had a good life." And then he dies. And behind him, you see Roger, behind Hellboy, you see Roger and Lobster Johnson appear. And Roger approaches, and Hellboy turns and sees him. He says, "Look, Roger, a dead alien." And the guy that was lying there a second ago is now an alien. And he looks like those aliens from the Seed of Destruction story. I'll briefly tell you. So when Hellboy is fighting Rasputin, who wants to summon this dragon alien that will destroy everything. There's these aliens in sort of a shuttle. They kind of look like Abe a little bit, and Abe Sapien, I mean, and he looked like this guy. They look really similar to this guy. So I wonder if he was one of them. If he was sent here, and then it's also interesting. So yes, right. Hellboy then turns to Roger, and he tells him, "Well, I just been with Lobster Johnson, but where he is, yeah, Lobster Johnson disappears." Which is interesting. It makes me wonder if he's actually, real living, or if he just appears when he's needed. Because now he disappeared again. Hellboy would have loved to see him, wouldn't he, now? Okay, so then Hellboy says, "Well, Roger, it was you who turned off the electricity, wasn't it?" And he says, "Yeah, but not intentionally." And Hellboy tells him, "Good job. Now let's go get the bad guys." And then we go up to now we're up, I guess, in where the castle's been blown on top. And we see all the Nazis standing there. And then Klump says, so they're like, "Welcome back, Dr. Oming," and that's it. That's where it ends. Okay, let me quickly just read you what the alien dude said. Ah, yes, Saint Leonard. Now, I should remember what the monster was called. Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah, he tells him goodbye. Oh, and he also, I really love this. He tells him, "Hellboy, to be other than human does not necessarily mean to be less. Remember that. Remember me." That was a cool sentence there. And then and then Roger, and he says, and he tells him goodbye. And yeah, you know what? I'll show you the alien guy. It's a really old comic. I don't think there'll be a problem. Yeah, then Hellboy tells Roger, "Let's hurry and find the bad guys and stop them." Ah, yeah, and then he says, "Welcome home, Dr. Holming." Klump says, "I take it then this capsule already arrived, even though we don't get to see that." Oh, okay. So first, cover. So that is a cool one. I love the fight scene on it. You see a bit of Dr. Klump here. Well, his eye, and he has a swastika tattooed on his forehead. He's very dedicated, you see. So yeah, you see Hellboy fighting a gorilla. What's really cool, I don't think I've seen, maybe there are, but this is the first cover I've seen where there's some text, not text, but there's a speech bubble on a Hellboy cover. I've never seen that before, really. His famous line of "son of a," and he never finishes it. Because usually someone punches him. Sorry about, again, all the honking. There we go. I forgot to mention this last time, but I like how the logo for Dark Horse looks here. It's quite cool. Oh, it's Maverick? Does it say Maverick? Oh, interesting. Was this something else? Huh. Okay, so yeah, also great colors. The green really brings out Hellboy here. Of course, you have the gorilla. Okay, let me show you some art then. Oh, sorry. Let me do it like this so I don't stain the, there you see, I'm gonna have to hold it. Okay, so there you see, there's the castle. There's Hellboy waking up, poor guy. There's also a much thicker story. It's like 30 pages. You see poor Hellboy being electrocuted. There's Klump. So yeah, now he has a body. There's the granddaughter. And then, and he tells a bit where he's been. You see, there's that man in his human form, anyway. Yeah, the art is, well, you know I love Mike Mignola's art, if you watch my channel. It's absolutely fantastic, and of course colors by Dave Stewart are always great. I see she shoots him. She is really murderous, this one. There's Lobster Johnson, you see. Skip a bit ahead. There they are with all of these, as you can see, as the experiments. Some kind of like reanimated mechanical zombies or some shit like that. Okay, and I'll just show you the alien and that's it. Oh, this little baby Hellboy. Okay, let me just show you him. There he is, you see? That's him. And he really looks like them, so I think he's probably is one of them. Alright, so that's him. Poor guy. He served well, though. Oops. Wait. Okay. Easy. Alright. So that was issue 2 of Conqueror Worm. I'm starting to think that whatever Dr. Oeming comes back is, or well, at least his body, is probably going to be in the form of a worm or something. I mean, it has to be, right? Why else would the story be called that? But no, that's left to be seen. So wow, more information revealed. We get to see an alien that used to, and not used to, that followed Hellboy essentially all his life now, which is really fucking cool. And now we know the purpose of this Nazi mission back then. And now what Dr. Oeming said before we departed makes more sense. Because when I saw that he's missing, well, at first I saw that he's missing an eye, and I thought, oh, okay, he can still. But I saw he's missing an arm and 2 legs, and I'm like, how is he gonna? I did wonder what could he possibly do up there, really. What was he gonna bring back? So yeah, he knew he was dying, and that he would, he would be dead, but he would bring something new with him. So, something fucking awful. But hey, all for the all for the world domination, eh? Yeah, holy shit. This so far is really a fucking awesome series. It's very interesting. It's got the. I really miss Mike Mignola illustrating all of his stories. I wish he would write some more. But hey, it's a lot of old stuff to pick up. So yeah, this has been great. And I look forward to see what issue 3 will bring. How will this continue, and what Dr. Oeming will reappear as. And I'm also wondering if I'm right about this being like the story where Hellboy decides to quit the BPRD, and also if they're going to use that explosive thing that's inside Roger. That's what you think about, why show it if it's not going to be used. So I imagine Hellboy might use it to perhaps destroy either the castle or whatever thing comes out of Dr. Oeming, or Dr. Oeming becomes. So yeah, fantastic. Alright folks, so let me know if you've read issue 2 of Hellboy Conqueror Worm. What did you think? Did you like it? Did you not? And that is it. Remember, collect what you're passionate about and share it on YouTube. Bye!